The problem is there's too much we don't know. It's like opening a book and starting from the middle, or try to imagine what a jigsaw puzzle looks like when all you have is a few random pieces, right? And not even the helpful ones like corners or edges, just vague. The trick is you find two pieces that connect. Then at least you have a place to start.
Hello family, my name is Igor, welcome to the Geekademy channel. The hype for season 3 from is getting insane. We are all expecting September 22nd, and as I promised you in the previous video, I'm gonna go through every episode of the first 2 seasons and try to find as many clues as possible. Probably we're gonna just raise many more questions, like for example, how does this board connect it to the book that Kenny and Christie are reading, and a lot of more interesting questions. Now you see, when I was a kid I really enjoyed books about Sherlock Holmes, and now as a grown-up I enjoy TV shows that allow me to feel like I'm some sort of a detective. Like Jade in the beginning of this video, when he said that From is basically a big puzzle, and what we are trying to do here, you and I, is find as many pieces as possible and try to connect them. So at some point when there's gonna be one crucial piece that we're gonna add to our picture and we're gonna finally understand what the hell is going on in this TV show. So if you are like me, if you're one of the crazies, if you want to feel like a detective, if you're enjoying this kind of TV shows like From, Severance, Silo and many more, you are welcome. We're gonna become good friends, and now is a great time for you to push that subscribe button. So let's start with season 1 episode 1. Now of course I'm not gonna just retell everything that happened in season 1 episode 1, because this video is gonna be like 2 hours if I'm gonna do it. What I'm gonna do right now is basically I'm gonna share with you everything that I noticed in this. I don't know how many times I watched this episode already, and we're gonna start building some themes. For example, the first shot of the episode are trees, and we know this is something that happens pretty often in this show, and like this we're gonna add trees as the first shot of the TV show, and we're gonna have our detective board called Themes Trees. Now for example, the second shot is Boyd holding this bell. This bell was used in some old schools in United States, and this is gonna add to our second board, American History, where we're gonna add Boyd's bell from Civil War period. This period is basically one of the most important for this TV show, as we're gonna find out in the next episodes. By the way, I don't know why do I need to do this, I think it's pretty obvious, but spoiler alerts for both 2 seasons. This is not for somebody who just watched it for the first time. This is for the crazies like me, who watched it already a couple of times at least. So now you get the point. I'm gonna go through all of the clues and all of the interesting information I have seen in episode 1, and in the end of this video we're gonna summarize our boards and see what kind of clues and information we have. So let's go on. I want to start with the episode name, Long's Day into Journey Night. This is basically a play that takes place on a single day in August 1912. This is from Wikipedia, I'm just reading it. The setting is Monte Cristo Cottage, the seaside home of the Tyrons in Connecticut. I'm not gonna read it all for you. If you want to read the play, if you want to watch it, you're more than welcome. I don't see that much of a connection to our TV show. The only thing that comes to mind is basically Tyrons, their family, is going through some kind of a process. They are pretty fake during the day. Okay, it starts with fake smiles, with fake good mornings, fake love, and as far as the day goes, as far as it comes closer to the night, they're becoming more and more honest with each other, and their honesty is pretty hurtful. Something that basically tears the family apart. And I was thinking about From, you know, during the day everything is fine, everything is cool, during the night the horror's coming out. And maybe it's connected that way, you know, in the night in Fromville you are experiencing the truest form of existence. You are either dead or alive. Every night you face death. I don't know, maybe it's just the name, you know, maybe just the creators were like, yeah, it sounds good, Long's Day Journey into Night, we enjoy this play, let's take the name of it. I don't know, but this is some kind of a small connection that I noticed, and even if they are that small, I'm still gonna share it with you, and you will decide whether take it seriously or not. Now, let's move forward. We see here the music box. This is the first scene. Boyd is going through town, he's using his bell to tell everyone it's nighttime, you gotta go inside. And in this moment we see that the music box is turned on by itself. Nobody is using it. This is some kind of a magic that happens here in this town. Now I zoomed in, I used everything that I know in Lightroom to try to understand every song that we see here. Now, some of the songs we're actually gonna hear during next episodes, but the first song that we're listening, Animals, is not here. Now look at those songs. Okay, we have here Jane Pitney, Twice, Town Without Pity, Last Chance to Turn Around. All of the names are somehow connected to what we're seeing in this TV show. Not most of them, we actually have here a lot of romantic songs like Lola, You Really Got Me. Blue, you know, blue can be interpreted like, yeah, everybody's probably feeling a little bit blue in this town. Both Sides Now, If You Can Give Me Love, Stumbling In, read it by yourself. What is important, I think, to notice is that the latest song we see here is If I Had a Boat. This is pretty important, you know this TV show, you know how important this song. It's 1987. By the way, the year when I was born. I don't know if that's connected, I'm pretty sure it's not. What I actually want you to notice, this is the time period, okay? When we're gonna be in episode 9 and we're gonna go to the lighthouse and we're gonna see the years in the lighthouse, we will see that 1970s is some kind of important. And we see here that most of the songs here are from this time period. Now, we're moving forward. As I told you, Animals is not in this music box. And once again, you can see that the lyrics are pretty much telling us exactly what we're gonna see in this dirty old part of the city where the sun refused to shine. Come on, Fromville, please tell me there ain't no use in trying. Now, my girl, you're so young and pretty, and one thing I know is true, you'll be dead before your time is due. I know, this is basically our first scene in this episode. We're gonna see Megan is dying. Now, once again, as I told you about the time period, this is the song. Was written by Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil, recorded at 1965. The same period is going again and again, from 60s to 80s. This is basically all of the music that we're hearing here. I don't think it's a coincidence. I'm not 100% sure this is some kind of important clue, but it's probably have some kind of an importance. Anyway, we're moving forward and there is a theme also repeating itself, dolls. We can see that Megan is playing with the doll, probably that was found here. It doesn't look like anything modern that kids are playing nowadays with. And we can see there is a school, and this is another theme that I want to discuss with you. You can see that every building, almost every building in this place is right now something different. Some kind of a barn became like a church, and a gas station became a bar, and Colonial House, a symbol of capitalism and American history, became a place for hippies and communists, and school became hospital, and a post office became sheriff office. Now this is kinda weird for me because we can see a town, and it's weird that a town where people used to live, there is no sheriff's office, and what is even more weird, there is no any medical building, nothing, not a tiny hospital, which is weird. People didn't get sick in this place. This is a question I actually don't have an answer for you, but I think it's something worth noticing. Anyway, we're moving forward. We can see here the barbershop symbol, and one of the many interesting things about this symbol is that it creates an illusion. It turns around like this, but it does create an illusion that the red and blue stripes are going up or down. And the illusion is also a theme that is being repeated many times in this show. You will see another one just in this episode. Maybe just a clue or a hint that everything that happens here, or at least a part of everything that happens here, is some kind of illusion. Now let's get back to Megan. She's basically praying and she's saying, I pray the Lord my soul to keep. You know this prayer, you heard it in Metallica songs, and this is basically a prayer from the New England Primer. Now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. The New England Primer was the first reading primer designed for the American colonies. Once again, the 17th century, the Civil War period, the 17th to 18th century. Once again, we have some kind of a piece of information that's somehow connected to American history. We're moving forward. Drawings, I'm not gonna tell you how important they are. I try to make them as clear as possible, but I cannot find some kind of information here, but pretty sure any drawings that we're gonna find here will have some kind of importance. Now, era, you can see that all of the monsters are not modern. Most of them, if not all, are actually dressed like the period we are discussed right now in the music. The 60s, the 50s, the 70s, the 80s. This grandma and everything that happened to her here in the first episode is kind of weird. Everything was here weird. I don't know about you, but when I was watching it, my first thought was like to Megan's mom, run, jump, use both of your legs and throw your daughter away from this window. This is not a time to be gentle. This is not a time to be like, "Hi Megan, honey, would you like please, if it's not too difficult for you, to get away from the window where the monster's standing that's gonna kill both of us if you're gonna open the window?" And she's like, "Megan, do something, jump, stop your child, be a mother." I don't know why it's being played like that. The first time I was watching it, I actually thought it's not gonna be a good TV show. This is weird, this is actually stupid, this is bad writing. And when I was actually progressing in this TV show, I understood that those writers probably couldn't write this just because they're bad, because everything else in this TV show is very good. So it makes me think that this was intentional. If the grandma monster was, I don't know, hypnotizing somehow Megan using her magical forces, what happened to mom here? I cannot understand. Now another thing that's interesting is that please look at the monster and at her eyes. I'm gonna try to put here the video so you can see how her eyes are turning from black to whitish. We've seen this kind of white goo in eyes already many times in the next episodes. We're gonna go through them. I'm just gonna remind you that end of season 2, this is the same color both Julie, both Randall and Muriel eyes were when they were held in this basement where Boyd saved them from. So maybe what we have seen in the end of season 2 is basically those forces trying to turn those three into monsters. Another theme and another clue is cards. We can see Megan is dead and a lot of cards around her. Once again, it's not something that I would usually notice, but as we know in the lighthouse in Tabitha's vision, there are gonna be cards, and one of the most famous theories in the internet about this TV show is the theory about the tarot cards and the witch and the devil or something like this, so I'm putting it here too, just in case. Anyway, once again, trees. The first shot of the intro is trees. Basically, the creators are telling us the trees are important. They are moving, Victor's gonna try to count steps towards them. Something is connected here to the trees. Once again, music box in the intro, very important. Ravens, we can see the children drawings. This is basically two themes that's gonna be here in this episode. Ravens and children drawings, basically in the TV show, they're pretty important. We see here like an American flag, but it's not new and shiny, it's basically dirty and torn apart, and it's basically probably saying like, yeah, American history is not that bright. It has some great moments, it has some amazing moments, but it also has some pretty dark moments too. And once again, another connection here, American flag and raven. Everything that you're seeing right now, we're gonna put on our boards. And colonial house, communism, we spoke about it before, like the opposites here, and church, another place that's probably the oldest place in this Fromville that we are actually analyzing. Dolls in the intro, a monster with an eye. You can see that it's contained, just like we've seen the monster, the grandma monster attacking Megan. Her eyes were normal and then they turned to something like gooish, whitish gooish, something like this. Here we can see also like some kind of dark forces are basically trying to contain this eye. And we can see Adam and Eve. First biblical theme we're gonna see here. We're gonna see a little bit more. We're gonna see some kind of different religions in this TV show. We're gonna see biblical references. We're gonna see Norse mythology references. We're probably gonna see some more that I didn't recognize yet, but you know, Google is awesome and I'm gonna find everything I can for you. Let's move forward. We can see more trees. Just watch this moment again. You can see that basically the camera is following Matthew's car and then is like, you know, trees. Look at the trees again. Please look at the trees. They are important. Norman is also gonna be important. Once again, we're gonna discover why in episode 9 when Tabitha is gonna go through the lighthouse and she's gonna find there Ethan's toys. One of them is gonna be Norman, and Norman is actually the secret fairies are on their way back from the Lake of Tears. I'm gonna remind you right now, we're gonna actually check it in episode 2, that when Ethan is gonna wake up after the crash, he's gonna say that he was in the Lake of Tears. And he's seen some drawings on the wall, and this is probably Victor's room. So Victor, the boy in white, and Ethan are all connected, and the Lake of Tears somehow connected to all of them too. Anyway, when you're dead, you're gone. Is Norman dead? No, he's not dead. This is another theme. Basically, because it's from the creators of Lost, everybody's talking about purgatory and basically all of our characters are dead. I don't believe this is the case, I really hope no, but there are clues for that. Once again, here, Julie is saying to Ethan that Norman is dead, and when you're dead, you're dead. You're gone, nothing can help you. And then Tabitha comes along and she's telling, no, it's actually not like that, blah blah blah. So it's also serves some kind of like a clue or introduction to what we're gonna see. And there are some another clues that basically saying that everyone that we've seen in this TV show is actually dead. And gas station, we can see here some kind of fake cola. There is no Krillman's cola, no brand like that. I googled, I looked for it. So they are using both real brands in Fromville and fake brands in Fromville. Why? You know, the first thing that comes to mind is basically, you know, it's Hollywood, some brands actually allowed, some brands didn't allow for the usage, you know, like commercial use of their products, of their logo. And it sounds a little bit weird because, you know, when you're trying to save money or when you didn't find like some kind of connection, you can always use something else here. It doesn't have to be cola. It can be anything else that you actually found sponsorship of and use it there. This is not the one and only fake brand out there. They are gonna repeat themselves. This was actually used as some kind of a clue and some kind of argument that all of this is simulation. But once again, we're gonna see some real brands in Fromville too, especially when we look at shoes and cars. Something is not connecting here, but once again, it's something that I think is worth noticing. Here in this shot, we can actually understand that monsters are eating people. Okay, if you look at this, and I really hope that YouTube is not gonna ban this video because it's pretty graphic, the body of Megan Moms is basically empty. And when we look at the room, there's a lot of blood, but we don't see any organs. So it was probably eaten. I don't know if it was eaten because they are needed, because actually people are food for them. When they hunt, they don't hunt like predator that hunting for food. They are hunting like they are toying with their prey. So it is a little bit different, and I think maybe they eat it just for fun also. It doesn't look like it's something that they actually need, otherwise they would chase their victims and not just walk with their stupid fucking smiles. Anyway, we're moving forward, we can see the amulet. We're gonna talk about the amulet a lot. Okay, there are a lot of symbols here. Some of them resemble Nordic symbols, especially the trees. And another symbol in the center is also a Nordic symbol. I'm gonna put both of them on the screen right now. Once again, we have some kind of a religion reference here, but right now it's not biblical, it's basically Norse mythology. How it can be connected? If we are talking about American history, the first people that have actually discovered, I'm using quotation marks because people always lived in America, but the first European people that went to America's continent were Vikings. They called America Vinland, and if you're watching anime, Vinland Saga is one of the best. But they were actually one of the first there. So maybe they were the first to experience this menace, this terror of Fromville, and they were the ones who made those amulets to protect themselves from this evil. As I told you, we have here real brands. Ethan is drinking bubbly, this is a real brand. It's being used and it's being sold, so it's not only the copyright issue or something like this. Once again, we see here the tree, Matthewses are being stopped. I'm not gonna show you too much of it, you know exactly what's happening here. And we can see here the raven, okay? The raven is looking at them. If we're talking about the Norse mythology, ravens are actually were with Odin, his fellow companions. This is a bird that symbolizes wisdom and a lot of good things basically in Norse mythology. And if we're talking about Odin, the Norse god who had one eye, if you remember the trailer, we have a Civil War soldier or Civil War sailor who had one eye. We have this character who had one eye. Not exactly one eye, but basically they were getting closer to being Odin, and a lot of drawings that are showing us monsters with one eye or basically two eyes and one of them is bleeding. So why do I think ravens is important? We're gonna go to it, you know, like look first of all at Julie's short. We talked about illusion and she's basically having some kind of sheep with 3 eyes. I don't know exactly what kind of symbol it is. It's probably somehow connected once again to some kind of mythology, but basically this shirt was made specifically for this TV show, and it's written illusion. Once again, another clue that maybe at least a part of what we are seeing is some kind of illusion. Anyway, we can see an amulet. Okay, as I told you, one of the most famous theories out there is about the tarot cards and the Beotux, the first Native Americans living in the Newfoundland. This is basically Canada, Northern America, and their religion said that human beings are actually came from arrows. Some kind of god there shot an arrow, the arrow hit the ground, and from it became the first person, or something like this. I hope I don't sound disrespectful or anything. You're basically not a big expert in this mythology, but Alice here is wearing an amulet, some kind of necklace, and it has like an arrow or a flower. You can basically see her two different things. If it's an arrow, it may be somehow connected to Beotux. If it's a flower, it's just something beautiful, but you will notice that almost everyone here in this place is wearing some kind of jewelry. Anyway, we're moving forward. We see here an eye. Look at the image of, once again, Adam and Eve. We know that Fatima and Alice, they're basically some kind of interpretation of Adam and Eve. There are a lot of drawings of it, and Fatima is pregnant in season 2, and this is the first pregnancy in this place, so she's gonna bring the first human for this world. Kinda weird, but the all-seeing eye, the one eye that looks at everyone, is also gonna repeat itself a couple of times. And if you remember the end of season 1, when basically Jim is trying to talk someone, he realized that somebody is watching them. Somebody knows everything about them. Martin speaking to Boyd in season 2, also telling him like, yeah, I know everything about you, man. Like, I'm here, you know, trapped with chains in some weird place, but I somehow have here like a 4K TV, and I see everything that you're doing in Fromville. Anyway, let's move forward. As I told you, I wanted to show you this in a close-up. We have the like big female eye, as far as I can see. The laces are really long. Trees again. Even Alice is drawing trees. Everybody's drawing trees. Sarah is acting pretty weird in this episode. She's acting weird usually, but here she's like, you know, setting some new records. And we can see the scarf. Look at Father Cutry's scarf. You have crows on it, you have trees on it, as usual, trees, and you have sun. In the next episodes we're gonna see there's also a moon, sun and moon. We see it also on the amulet. The scarf is kinda weird. It looks like new. It looks like it was made here recently, not like years ago, not like centuries ago especially. It's probably not something that Father Cutry brought with him from home. You don't see usually these kinda symbols, paganic symbols, on a Christian minister. This is not happening, but he is wearing it because he believes, as we know, he is right now in the new book, in the New Testament, but the crows, sun, moon, and trees are actually going to repeat themselves many times during this show. This is just one of them. Another thing that is interesting for me is this place have a train station. This is once again an argument for this place was never closed entirely. Okay? It was open. People used to be able to get inside and go out. This town was just like any town. And there was actually a train station, a trail road that was going through the city. It looks kinda old, it's not modern, but it still was there. And once again, ravens are important. Like, put yourself in the shoes of the screenwriters. They actually wrote this dialogue, you know, like when Julie tells Ethan, you know how crows are called when they're like that? It's called murder when there are a lot of crows, and they're gonna murder you. Aha, I'm an old sister, I'm gonna tease you. And Tabitha is saying no, they were actually ravens. And ravens are called an unkindness of ravens. It's thought that a group of ravens is called an unkindness because back in the 19th century, once again we're going through history, many people believe that these birds weren't all that caring when it came to their young. From time to time, ravens can expel their young into the world before they're ready to fend for themselves. If I was Ethan or Julia, I would be careful with this. Of course, this is actually a complete misunderstood belief from the 19th century born out of lack of understanding about those birds. In mythology, ravens were often associated with bad luck and got a reputation for being tricksters. This could also contribute to them being referred to as an unkindness. Okay, different mythologies. Once again, as I told you, in Norse mythology, they were actually a symbol of wisdom. But we still didn't finish with ravens, and closer to the end of this analysis, we're gonna come back to them once again. Right now, I just want you to look at Randy's move, another fake brand. This is basically something that Boyd came with. I don't know how it's called. Something you connect to a car. Forgive me, as you can probably already understand, English is not my main language. But once again, Randy's move. You can basically put there whatever you want, whatever company you want. And Randy's move, this is not the last time we're gonna actually see them in this TV show. So it is kind of interesting why sometimes they are using real brands and sometimes they're using fake brands. My idea and my intuition tells me it's because those fake brands are supposed to be clues. Moving forward, we can see real brand Audi, real brand Ford, an old car. You can see that Matthewses are coming from Arizona. This is something that we're probably gonna analyze in more detail in next episodes. Right now, there's not too much information in this episode where everyone is from. You see where everyone is from. And we can see here, as I told you, maybe they are dead, because we can see that Jim is basically being almost pierced by a tree. So sometimes in TV shows and movies, there's a trick that it's showing us that somebody is miraculously being saved, and in the end of the movie we realize that they've been dead all along and this is a false memory. Actually, the tree pierced him, or I don't know, he fell to the ground, whatever. Basically, somebody is dead. I don't want to believe this theory. I don't want to see Lost again. I don't want to understand that basically it was all a dog's dream or purgatory or something like this. I really hope it's not, but once again, as I told you, I'm trying to be here a detective and I'm trying to find as many clues as I can and put them on a relevant board. This is what we're trying to do here. Now, we can see here cuffs. Where are the cuffs from? I don't have an answer for this because there is no sheriff station actually in Fromville. It's a post office became sheriff station. Maybe, I don't know, I don't live in America, I don't live in the United States. Maybe you have cuffs in post office. Maybe this is something that you usually keep out there. I don't know. If yes, please write in the comments. Right now it looks like somebody who just came to Fromville was just into some kind of kinky stuff. That's it. And now Boyd has cuffs with his gun. The board. This is one of the most interesting thing for me. I did everything I could in Lightroom. I added a lot of contrast, a lot of effects to this board, and I was able to understand some words. And through these words, this is actually a poem by Edgar Allan Poe called, you guessed it, Raven. Okay, deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. Okay, once again, this is not the only time we're gonna see a reference to Edgar Allan Poe. The book that Christie and Kenny are reading is actually also was written by Edgar Allan Poe. Obviously, I'm reading it right now. As soon as I'm gonna finish it, I'm gonna share with you what I found, if I find anything. Now, this moment is especially creepy right now because we already seen Sarah going through 2 seasons. We've seen her sort of redemption. Here, why did she had to kiss Toby? I don't understand it. I know she hears voices and the voices are telling him you have to kill him, otherwise you're not gonna be able to leave this place. This is what Sarah told everybody. Did the voices told her also to kiss this guy? Kiss it, kiss. They're also perverts. They're not just evil, they are also like perverts. Hey, you have to kiss him, use your tongue or something like this. This is weird for me. This is not a behavior of somebody who is following orders. This is a behavior of somebody who has a free will and kinda creepy. But once again, when she kills him like a professional assassin with one hit, I don't know about you, I listen to many true crime podcasts, and usually when somebody is trying to kill someone with a knife or a screwdriver or whatever it is, it takes about 20 or 30 hits to actually kill a human being. And she was like one hit, a professional assassin like from Assassin's Creed. This is what I've seen here. But she does look horrified and she does look terrified. She's not enjoying it. So I don't know exactly what was the point of the kiss here. Maybe those forces are pretty weird. If we are actually correct and this is some kind of simulation, some kind of matrix, some kind of virtual game or something like this, maybe there are some kind of geek sitting there in his chair and he's like, kiss him, I haven't seen a girl kiss a man in my life or something like this. A small mix by Tabitha, a small mistake. She's telling Jim we have to get Thomas. As we know, Thomas was the baby child, the first child of Matthew's, who they basically couldn't save. I think the death theme and the theme of loss for a lot of our characters is something that's gonna repeat itself. I'm just gonna put it here right now. Now, real brand, once again, we can see Christie's shoes, she's wearing Reeboks, and she's helping Ethan. And once again, the body that was carried by Boyd and the trailer was wearing white shoes, so maybe it was actually Christie. Anyway, we can see that Ethan is having seizure. Seizure is also something that's happening many times during this TV show. It's gonna happen to Ethan, it's gonna happen to Elgin, and it's gonna happen to Sarah. This is how you connect to the forces in this place. When he having a seizure, he is able to see something. I don't know exactly how it works, but once again, I want to put it on the board, so as soon as we're gonna get a clue, I think this is one of the most important details, because this is a connection to the forces that are actually running this place, that are basically the main big deal in this place, if I'm allowed to say so. Anyways, again, the era, this is the Mad Men era, one of my favorite TV shows. I'm pretty sure I've seen secretaries wearing this kind of outfit there many times. And I know there is actually a theory that this is all was a Halloween party and everybody was wearing costumes, and this is why they all look a little bit weird. There's a milkman, there is a library lady, there is a cheerleader, and I think I have some proof for you this is not the case, but this is something I'm gonna save already for episode 2. And let's summarize. Themes: American history, Boyd's bell from Civil War, the New England primer prayer, old fashioned, the American flag, the Beartooth talisman, everything somehow connected to American history. There's a lot more. Norse mythology, Vikings, Vinland, many things that we're gonna put here during every episode, every video that I'm gonna make. You're gonna see more and more of those images, and sometimes maybe themes are actually gonna connect one to each other. Another theme is Fromville, the whole place. It had a school, now it's a hospital. It had a post office, now it's a sheriff station. It has a gas station, now it's a bar. It has a colonial house, and now it's a communa. It had something, whatever it is, now it's a church, and we also know that it had a railroad, which means it had a connection to the outer world. Let's move to the second theme, to the third theme, sorry, trees. First shot, everybody sees the tree before they get to Fromville. Alice is drawing trees, and the scarf of Father Catrice also having trees. And we have monsters, we have the magical grandma, we have eyes turning white. Magical grandma is basically saying they can use some kind of hypnosis, it's kind of weird. There is a speculation that they are using people for food, and they are angry and feeling emotions. I forgot to talk to you about this scene. Basically, when Boyd discovers the amulet in Megan's house, it's on the floor, and it's a little bit weird. They don't really need to throw it on the floor already, the monsters, because, you know, they're already inside. So they are sentient, okay? They came down and they took away the amulet to let everybody else in, maybe, to eat also. Or they were just looking at the amulet and feeling angry, and they were basically like, fuck this amulet, go to the ground. Another theme, ravens. Everyone sees the unkindness of ravens before they enter Fromville. Father Catrice's scarf has raven. They were studying the Raven poem by Edgar Allan Poe in school, and once again, Father Catrice's scarf has a raven. This is somehow connected to the mythology that is running this place. Sauron's eye, we can see her and eye is watching after Adam and Eve, Alice and Fatima. We have Julie's short that has 3 eyes on it, and we have an eye looking through a keyhole in the drawings in the intro of the show. And illusion, we have the barbershop symbol in the colony house, and once again Julie's short and illusion. Fake brands, we have the Krillman's Cola, the fake Coca-Cola, and we have the Renda's Move. Remember this is gonna be important in the next episode. Sarah killed someone before, we gonna get a little more clues about it in the next episode, and we see that Matthew's lost Thomas, lost their third child before they came to this place, and they are dealing with death. a lot of them are actually dealing with death before they come to Fromville. Themes Adam and Eve, biblical, some kind of references. We can see here the drawing by Ellis twice. He's obsessed with Adam and Eve, and he's drawing himself and Fatima as Adam and Eve. Amulets, we're gonna discover them too. The scarf also has a sun. They have weird symbols that resemble trees, people, and the sun on the amulets. And dolls. Dolls, this is something that we're gonna experience a little later, towards the end of season 1, beginning season 2, when Jade is gonna start seeing this creepy doll. Child drawings, once again, we barely touched it. Lake of Tear, we barely touched it. Cards, we also barely touched it. And music is kinda interesting. This is something I think have a lot of meaning here, and we're gonna discuss it, okay? They probably, maybe, if I'm gonna have time, I'm gonna make a video especially about the music. Because usually, especially for creators, music have a lot of importance in the show. It creates a lot of vibe, it creates a lot of emotion, and it's never usually like, you know, it's a good song, let's use it in the TV show. It's usually because it has some kind of importance and it needs to drive some kind of a message that our creators want to tell us. So this is basically it. This is a warm-up, okay? This next videos are gonna be more detailed. This is something for you to understand that those videos are for the crazy people only. So if you are one of those, please feel free to subscribe. I really want to reach 1000 subscribers before the beginning of season 3. This is gonna be on September 22nd. And of course, as soon as season 3 is gonna be released, I'm gonna make similar analysis of every episode. We're gonna discuss it together. And we have a lot of to do together. We have From, we have Silo, then we have Severance. That is a lot of detective work for us to do until basically the February 2025 or something like this. So a lot of things to enjoy and to look forward to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!